Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Zimbabwe is a failed state. The country is desperate to get out of this mess. What is really disappointing is how Zanu PF is dug in and is clearly determined to hang on to power at all costs. The regime's propaganda machinery is into overdrive. Here is a short clip of a recent press interview that was given by the party spokesperson, Chris Msangwa. I just want to focus on two issues that he raised, but let's listen to the interview itself.
Particular issue which I want to address. Zimbabwe was founded by the support of Africa, the Africa OAU Liberation Committee. And one of the first beneficiaries of the OAU Liberation Committee is a young aspiring guerrilla, was the current president. Africa matters to us as a country. It made us become what we are. When Mozambique was supporting us, they were a neighbor, but they were also African. Saka, you don't go about saying good atidi ma foreigners munyika munom. Atidi zwana dudura munom. We are an African country. Africans are not foreigners in Zimbabwe. Africans are not foreigners in Zimbabwe. They belong to this country. If there are certain things which will be done by certain Africans, let them be handled by the legal process, Maprisa Nema courts. Not some kind of blanket condemnation by a green stick, a political approach. No. We're a mature brown stick country which has got a lot of respect for our African brethren. And when they are here, we treat them exactly as Zimbabweans in this country. We are not xenophobic like South Africa. And I mentioned earlier on, when you live in glass house, don't throw stones. I said the third biggest foreign currency earner in this country is the diaspora. They are strangers.
I'll stop it there. I think we need to apologize to our brothers and sisters in South Africa. The problem of the xenophobia in South Africa is a serious problem. I can only equate it to a family whose children are spending so much time at the neighbors, and the neighbors have got to look after them. Day in, day out, the neighbors are the ones who see to it that they are properly fed in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and even help them with their school fees and other things as the basics, because the parents are not able to do so. This is not uncommon. We have this in a village where the individuals will be saying, well, if we do not help feed them, I mean, if they're in your house, yeah, they know that when it comes to eating, you can't say to them, no, you are not going to join us and eat. You cannot watch them sitting there. You know they are hungry and let them starve. More so if they are your own relatives. If you do not help to send them to school, you know that those children will grow up with no education, and it will be a burden to the whole village. Ndio anonzi vanokwata. I think we need to acknowledge that reality. There are millions of Zimbabweans who are in South Africa as economic and or political refugees. Some of them have absolutely no qualifications. Some of them are going there, for instance, for medical services. Because in Zimbabwe, the healthcare has all but collapsed. This is the reality. Of course, South Africa has got to look at it just as much as even if you are in a village. You have got to say to yourself, are we going to have to provide food for our own children and our neighbors' children? More so when you find that the neighbor is irresponsible. Instead of spending his money on looking after his children, making sure that they're properly fed, he is spending it on luxuries, buying cars, drinking, traveling. And I think that neighbor, when you're starting having problems with his children ever coming to your home, it'll be arrogant of that neighbor to turn around and say, in our culture, we look after everybody in the village, and it is part of our culture. Pan-Africanism. There's no xenophobia in Zimbabwe. You are the one who is causing xenophobia in other countries. You are failing to look after your own children. And so please, you cannot now turn around and pretend that the xenophobia in South Africa is because they are not Pan-Africanists. And we, Zimbabweans, are Pan-Africanists per excellence. We are the responsible parents. And yet, we cannot look after our own children. That is an outrage. The second point that Nsangwa also mentions here is the issue of the need for some of the political leaders in Zanu PF to attend what he called the Hebert Chitepo School of Ideology. I think many Zimbabweans have heard about this. The party has made a big song and dance about this so-called Hebert Chitepo School of Ideology. The truth of the matter is, Zimbabwe is a failed state. Zimbabwe has failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections ever since the country's independence. So one has got to ask, what is it exactly are the Zanu PF leaders taught at the Hebert Chitepo School of Ideology? Is it how to rig elections? How to terrorize the nation? I think the late Hebert Chitepo must be turning in his grave to see how his name has been abused by this regime. I believe people like Hebert Chitepo Bianyanda, and many other African Zimbabwean nationalists genuinely believed in delivering freedom to all, justice, and human dignity. And what Zanu PF has done is hijack the revolution. The Hebert Chitepo School of Ideology has been teaching Zanu PF thugs that they have the divine right to rule the country. They don't. No one has the divine right to rule the country. Anyone who rules Zimbabwe, the mandate must come from the people in a free, fair, and credible election. That should not be negotiable. Zanu PF has never held free, fair, and credible elections. And this is at the heart of why Zimbabwe is a failed state. Thank you very much. We are going to have an open discussion this evening in which we are going to invite members of the public to join us in the discussion. And the link is being shown at the bottom of your screen there. So if you go to streamyard.com/ and whatever is shown there at the bottom, you'll be able to join us, and would like to hear your views on whatever subject we'll be discussing. So it will be 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. I hope you'll be able to join us as we search for a way out of the hell on earth we are stuck in. And may I say, it is a man-made one. And per se, we can get out of it. What is made by man can be unmade by man. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.